Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Very exciting day here in the world of the Big Four podcast. Our first basketball podcast since the end of the NCAA tournament. So very exciting.
When are we going to talk swimming? Michigan State just won the Big Ten.
Well, I believe that's on the swimming podcast tomorrow.
Oh, good. Is that after the CAA podcast?
Yeah. So these will usually be on Wednesday, but we are trying to accommodate the schedule of a very special guest we have today. Mike and I are here. Luke is here, and we have a guest, Heath, who is the manager of the Wentworth basketball team. Heath, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, Chris. How are you?
Great. So I'll ask the first question. You guys can jump in, whatever, ask any questions you want. Heath, just give me a breakdown. Like, what is your role for this team?
My role for this team is pretty much at practice. It's nothing different than what I get in high school at Chevrolet. At practices, I really just run the clock and run the shot clock and sit around and do that. And then at games,
do you get yelled at the coach? Do you get yelled at by the coach?
I actually have not been yelled at yet, surprisingly. No, and then at games, I was doing a variety of things. Could be on the bench giving out water. Could be doing book. Could be at a home game in the rare event of a snowstorm, running the game clock. Could be doing a multitude of things that I'm trained in.
Okay. So you guys are playing Plymouth State in your first game next week. I know Mike is a huge Plymouth State fan, so we have kind of a rival thing here going back and forth. So, Heath, you can give me a little preview of the Wentworth basketball team. Then, Mike, I know you have an extensive preview prepared for the Wentworth State team, so you can do that after.
Well, Wentworth, we're looking at we finished 7th out of 10 in the coaches poll coming into the season. But in that 7th place, we were almost three coaches points out of 5th, and the team in 8th got a first place vote for some fucking reason. Anyway, we're looking at a promising year. We finished 8-8 in our last season in 2019 and made the semifinals of the Commonwealth Coast Conference tournament. We have a strong team, a lot of three-point depth, a lot of hustle. We annihilated LaSalle on Saturday in our first actual scrimmage, and we have a big scrimmage on Friday, heading over to I believe Wheaton College.
Heath, a quick question before Mike gives his preview. What is this the conference you're in? How does that compare to the rest of Division II?
Well, the Commonwealth Coast Conference is pretty much middle of the pack Division II conference. I think we have a couple of ranked teams in the unofficial D3 rankings.
Okay.
We're certainly miles ahead of what's Plymouth State in the Little East. The Little East is just a bad conference compared to us. And for our out-of-conference games, we're playing teams like UMaine Augusta, Clark.
It's a really
College.
good team. UMaine Augusta.
A very good. Our first home game actually is a non-conference on November 14th against Middlebury, a nationally ranked team.
They are very good.
And other teams like Framingham State. It should be a great year. A lot of great action happening in Tainsy Gym on Parker Street in Boston. As long as you can dodge the bullets, you can probably get there.
So.
Well, hey, Mike, before we let Heath go, what's your take on the Plymouth State basketball team for this season?
Well, we're going to be a good team. We're picked to finish 7 and 9 teams in the Little East this year. But that's fine because the Little East has always been one of the better conferences in the Northeast.
It's better than the Big East.
It is. It's always been. And listen, we're gonna be a good team this year. I really do think so. You know, we've got a couple returning starters.
Like who? Do you have their names?
Well, I had the roster list in front of me, but I forgot their names. But I'm sure we have some good players. And I'm sure our coaching is good.
Probably better than Michigan State's.
Probably. But I think we'll win next Tuesday because we're in a more prestigious conference. Whatever Wentworth is in, what is the conference that they're in?
The CCC, the Commonwealth Coast Conference.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the Little East is better than whatever that is.
All right. I think that's going to do it for our preview of this very intriguing game. Heath.
Well, keep in mind, we did beat USM 83-64 last year. So you got to keep that in mind.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us here. It was a very important topic we needed to cover. So we appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Luke, I did hear you had to step out for a second, but we are going to bring in another guest here to talk about the St. Andrews basketball team. That would be the coach of the team, Coach Hill, here to discuss the state of St. Andrews basketball. No games this week, but this has been a really strong team. Coach, what's your take on the squad?
Yeah, this state is not good. It is not good.
No.
1-3 start to the year. We've played the two best teams in the division though that are better than us. But other than that, it's been an absolute dreadful start to the year.
Okay. So what's the key to getting back on track?
Better coaching.
No. It's definitely listen. We're out. The coach has us outperforming our level that we're at right now. That's for sure. The key is that we got to get better players. Our players just aren't good enough.
All right. So what's your next? What do you got for the next game?
It should be next Wednesday, and I don't know who we're playing.
That's nice.
I only
does not know who you're playing.
I only focus.
Maybe that's why you guys are terrible.
Chris, it's day to day. I only focus day to day. How do I get better today? As Mel Tucker would say, the aggregation of marginal gains.
Okay. Well, that was a really good preview there from Coach Hill. Thank you for joining us today. I come back anytime on this podcast, Coach. Thanks for.
I might be here every week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, and Luke.
You're gonna unlike Harbaugh, you're actually gonna show up for your weekly morning or weekly show visit after a loss, unlike Harbaugh.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Who sends his assistant because he doesn't want to hear the heat.
It appears that Luke is back with us. We're going to start talking about some Division I basketball here, which is mainly what the Big Four podcast focuses on.
Yeah, we are previewing all 36 conferences.
All right. So what we got today, we'll talk about Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, quick preview of the Big Ten teams, power conference picks, Final Four, and some picks. We will only pick games for next Tuesday because we'll be back that Wednesday afternoon. Talk about that upcoming week. I guess we'll just go by the rankings. We'll start with Michigan. What are your expectations for the team? Keys to success for the season, etc. What do you got?
Well, I think Michigan's going to be a very good team this year. I think
that's a really hot take there.
Yeah, it is a hot take. For me, it's a hot take. Usually I'd say they're a bad team. But, they're going to hang their hat on defense again this year. They're losing two good players, two key players, but I think Juwan Howard's done a good job recruiting-wise. And they should be them, Purdue, and Ohio State. And I don't think Illinois will compete, but some people are saying Illinois should be competing for the Big Ten title.
Well, the key for Michigan is just to improve after that 9th place finish the last time we played basketball. I got to see improvement from some players. I got to see Jace Howard play better. I'm interested to see how Zeb Jackson was. I'm assuming he's the starting point guard. I'm going to see how he does. Adrian Nunez, he's going to be good. Terrence Williams was so good last year.
According to Rusty, Terrence Williams is actually going to be a key player for us this year.
Well, that's a problem. So do I think they'll finish better than 9th? Yeah, I think they'll be better than they were last time we played significant basketball. But are they going to be a top team in the Big Ten? I don't know. I got to see the coaching before I say anything with that, because Michigan has not had great coaching the past couple of years, even with Beeline. Last Beeline year, not great. So we're going to have to see if this guy can actually coach and not just a recruit. So we'll see.
Yeah, coming off a Big Ten championship last year, this is a team that should be at a similar level.
No, you didn't win the Big Ten championship.
If you finished a half game back, you don't win, and the season didn't count anyway. So, pandemic.
I expect them to be very good. I think they're a top 5 caliber team.
In the Big Ten?
You said the other day, Michigan's winning the Big Ten. You've said that like 3 times.
Oh,
last week.
I forgot that I can't take last year's results into account because it doesn't count. Doesn't
Here's-
matter,
Here's
as you would say.
here's
It's all
here's
under
the
fall
concern-
sports.
here's the concern I have for Michigan is that they don't have a ton of depth. They have a lot of young guys that they're counting on to play big minutes. That's the concern I have for Michigan.
Yeah, I mean,
Will Shetter's probably their best player. I mean, I really liked him coming out of Minnesota. I really did. I think he's going to be a good player. I don't know if he's going to play a lot this year, but he's a good shooter, big white guy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a team that should be very good. Obviously, losing Livers and Wagner doesn't help your cause.
Mike Smith.
I do think we upgraded at point guard with Devontae Jones. Just a
Well,
slight
Nunez
upgrade
is your point guard, so
because Devontae Jones plays very good defense, and they're similar offensive players. So I like that. I like the get there for Juwan Howard, Devontae Jones.
how do you know he hasn't played a single freaking game? How do you know he's going to be
Coastal
better?
Carolina, and he played very well.
Okay,
So who else we have here? Obviously, Eli Brooks back for his 30th
Caleb
year.
Houston.
Eli Brooks back for his 30th year is going to be huge for this team. You need a leader like that. He was a great leader for us last year, and he should be able to take that to the next level this year. And
Caleb Houston's been projected. Everyone's been picking him to be freshman of the year.
yeah, I mean, he might win that. He'll probably start. That's the biggest thing. My biggest concern with this team is trying to find a closer. Last year it was Livers.
No, the biggest concern is that you have
closer's
like
the
8
most
freshmen.
overrated thing in basketball.
I don't think you can have Dickinson be your closer. I'm not sure Brooks has the
I'd hope not. The dude
I'm not
can't
sure Brooks
dribble.
has the offensive makeup to be a closer. So I'm hoping that guy is going to be Caleb Houston. We'll see how that
No,
develops.
I think it's going to be Jace Howard.
Johns, hopefully he can make a leap. I mean, he played well in the tournament last year. We'll see how that goes. And then, off the bench, Luke was saying they don't have a ton of depth, and I agree with that. I mean, they have.
They could no. I'm not saying they don't have a ton of depth. I'm saying they have a lot of question marks.
Yeah. They have a couple freshmen that'll probably play off the bench. Terrence Williams, a sophomore, didn't play a lot last year.
He sucks.
And then Musa Diabate, I think he's a good player, 5-star, but he's also a freshman. So
Yeah, he's your Matty Sissoko.
yeah, maybe.
So have fun with that.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple guys step up off the bench. This is definitely a national championship contender. So we'll see how that develops.
Well, considering
really
they finished
just
9th place, I don't know. You don't want to get your head of yourself here.
All right, Ohio State.
I think this Ohio State team is going to be a lot better than last year because I think they're more well-rounded. Last year, the Ohio State struggled a ton on offense. I mean, on defense, and they were relying on individual guys like Dwayne Washington and C.J. Walker to kind of. They were almost trying to outscore the other teams. This team, I think, is going to be a lot better on defense, especially with Jamari Wheeler coming in. I mean, he was saying he was pissed that they didn't give him Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten last year. So, I mean, watch out for that. I mean, I think he's going to end up being one of the biggest additions that Chris Holtmann brought in his tenure here. And then I also think that like last year, I think the strength this year is depth with this team. I mean, you have 13 guys, I think, that will be able to play valuable minutes. Maybe 12 guys that will play valuable minutes. And a veteran team, transfer Cedric Russell coming in from Louisiana. I think it's a big transfer. Averaged 17 points at Louisiana last year. So I'm ecstatic about this team.
Yeah. Same problem they had last year. Oh, sorry, last year didn't happen, but I'll consider it. I'll consider that it happened for Ohio State.
Not
Same
for me.
problem they had from last year. They don't have that guy who can. They have a bunch of really good players, but they don't have the guy who can take over games. It's a bunch of really good players, and they'll be a good team. They'll be top 5 in the Big Ten again. Will they be in 2 seed in the tournament? Probably not. That they kind of played above their
Because we're gonna be a
skis for a
one
lot of
seed.
last year. They'll be a good team again this year. They'll probably be 4, 5, 6 seed in the tournament, and we'll see if they can actually win a game in the tournament this year.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to be really good. I think they're definitely a contender for the Big Ten. They are very underrated, I think. You lose Dwayne Washington, that hurts. But
Yeah, they got Justin Arns, so
yeah, they're returning so much. Justin Arns, obviously, great player. Justice Suing, that's Luke's guy.
is Joey Brunk going to start?
EJ Liddell.
Hey, to be honest, if I have one concern about this team is that we have no size.
Yeah, that's true. Kyle Young.
Joey
Seth Brown.
Joey
Brunk's
Brunk?
the only size.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Zeb
he
too.
can't play 40 minutes.
They will struggle with some of the big guys in the Big Ten, but I think this team is just extremely talented, and they're going to have a really, really good year.
Just the Tom Izzo strategy, just have a bunch of people under 6'10".
Yeah, it's the Brad Stevens strategy where you have a whole team full of guys who can play every position.
All right. Michigan State.
Yeah, they Tom Izzo. Is this going to be the worst team in Tom Izzo's history? It could be. I mean,
Well, if we're worse than
they
last year, then
suck.
something's going to happen.
They have nobody. I mean,
No, they have Steven Izzo.
you're relying on Tyson Walker to be your scorer. I mean, he averaged 19 points a
No.
game at Northeastern last year.
Steven
So that's what you're relying on.
Izzo provided post-game quotes against Ferris State. That's what his career highlight is on the Michigan State roster.
I don't even see him on the roster here, to be honest with you.
No, he's on there.
Oh, he's there.
No, he's not. I don't see him.
And
I'm
Davis
looking at
Smith
this
is also
preview
there.
and he's not
Yeah, you
here.
might see Steve Smith's son on there before you
Yep,
see him.
Davis Smith is right below him.
I don't see Smith on here either. My guy, Maddie Sissoko. That's Mike's guy, too. Spells Maddie, M-A-D-Y. Is that a woman? I don't know.
It's actually Maddie, not Maddie.
Yeah, my bad. And then, Mike, you guys stink.
Good analysis there.
Stink. You lose my guy, Foster Lawyer, who only decided
That's
to show
okay.
up
Coach
for ours.
Lawyer. Listen, I have a lot of concerns. I do. I mean, I think we'll be pretty good on defense again. Point guard, I think will be much better this year. I think Christie's going to be a freshman of the year type candidate. He'll probably average 15, 16 a game. He's going to have to because, we're going to have to get some scoring from somebody. Walker's going to have to play well. Hogarth's going to have to run the break like magic, as Izzo said. Hauser's going to have to turn into magic passing wise, as Izzo said. Gabe Brown's going to have to step up a little bit. I know he'll probably be back next year, but he's going to have to step up this year too. Bingham's got to play more than 10 minutes a game. He was our best player last year, plus minus wise, the only person on the team that was actually plus in the plus minus department. He's going to have to stay on the court. He's a good defender. Can't post up, but we don't need that apparently because it's only been 4 or 5 years since we've had that. So, we're going to play a lot of guys like usual. Against Kansas, I wouldn't be shocked if we played 11, 12, 13 guys. Wouldn't be shocked if Steven Izzo got some valuable time on the court because Tom is obsessed with treating the non-conference season like the preseason and not putting out his best lineups. But things don't start out easy. You're going to have to play well early in the year. Kansas, that's probably going to lose that game. At Butler's, no cakewalk. Battle for Atlantis, no gimme games there. So there's a chance this team, if they don't show up to start the year, they could start, 2-3, something like that. Start really, below 500, even more. Could be 2-5. That's probably the worst case scenario, but you never know. Coaching's gonna have to improve too. But I'll leave that for another day.
I think Michigan State will be much better than last year. I think they're a top 15 team. Defensively, they were elite last year. That won't change this year. As Mike said, it's an upgraded point guard because it's impossible to be any worse than what they were at point guard last year, except for the one game against Michigan.
Well, Aaron Henry ran the point pretty well at the end of the year.
Yeah,
But that was the problem. He's not a point guard.
I think, Mike said, Bingham needs to play more. biggest problem for me is they're relying on Max Christie to be their main scorer, and that's just
He's a lottery pick.
you're playing with fire when you're doing that with a freshman.
No, I watched him play against Ferris. He was the best player on the floor. It wasn't even
I
close.
would hope so.
Well, Tyson Walker was on the floor.
No, some guy from Northeastern. Anyways, Gabe Brown.
Let me say this. At least he can make a layup. That's all I'll say about that. I think we were the worst team last year when it came to making layups. We missed so many layups. I expect us to be a little bit more improved. Maybe Izzo will actually incorporate the layup line into his practices this year. We'll see.
Gabe Brown needs to be about 30 times better than he ever has been for this team.
He was good last year.
A real contender.
He's a good role player. He was really good. He was probably one of our best players last year, which is sad.
Yeah, he's a role player, but they're relying on him to score a lot this year. So
no, that's what Christie's for.
And you got some other role players, Malik Hall.
He should be starting over Hauser.
Joey Hauser.
He's a good player. He really is.
Step up. I do think Michigan State's going to be a good team, though.
Yeah, they would be a good team if they had a normal person at coach and not some crazy man who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Okay.
Izzo is he really is the Jim Harbaugh of college basketball.
All right. Okay.
Except that Izzo's actually won stuff.
No, Izzo hasn't won anything.
All right, let's do a quick preview of each Big Ten team. Just quickly, what you think of each team, their expectations, whatever. We'll start. We'll just We'll go with the coaches poll. We'll start at the bottom. So Minnesota.
Coaches poll.
Okay, Minnesota. You want to start at the bottom?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota. I think Minnesota's not going to be the worst team in the conference. They're relying on a ton of transfers. I mean, they have 8-9 transfers, I think. But, I mean, there's some talent there. All the transfers that they got average double-digit points at the schools they're coming from. I mean, they got a couple D2 guys, but, basketball's basketball. At the end of the day, you got to put the ball in the basket. And that's what some of these guys do. I think they'll be better than probably Nebraska and maybe Penn State. But I think they're not going to be good.
They're going to be morally awful, and that's fine. They're not expected to be good this year.
I like their
stuff. They're going to be the worst team in the Big Ten. It's not even close. There's no team even remotely close. At least Penn State's got some guys coming back. Minnesota's got nothing. They're going to be like those early Hoiberg Nebraska teams that just brought in brand new rosters every year. They're going to suck. They're going to be terrible.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to be absolutely brutal. I did like to hire Ben Johnson, but this is not the year.
No, the fact he mentioned Tom Izzo in his opening press conference means he's a terrible coach.
But yeah, I mean, they're going to be the worst team in the power conferences aside from Boston College.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Missouri. There are a lot of bad teams in the power conferences.
All right, Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State, I think, is going to be the worst team in the conference. I think they stink. I don't think what's his face is gone. And I mean, Lundy's coming back, who was all right. But then other than that, they have no size. Their tallest guy is 6'9". They got
well, John Harrer plays like he's 7'10". That's why Izzo recruited him.
Izzo wanted him.
And then they got 4 transfers that they're relying on to play significant minutes from small schools. So I think they're going to be the worst team in the conference.
Well, I think they're going to be better than Nebraska just because they've got a decent amount of returning production. Miles Dredd was really good last year. Not really good. He was good. He was a good player. John Harrer, very good player.
Sam Sessoms.
Yeah, he's a returning player. Yeah, he was good. He was solid.
8 points last year. 8 points.
Solid. Yeah, they're not going to be good, but I think they got those guys coming back, so they'll probably finish second or I would probably say second to last. I'm agreeing with the coaches poll so far.
Yeah, I think they'll be better than Northwestern. They got some returning production, and what a hire at coach. Just a legend in the city of Boston for his time.
Yeah, look, ever since he left, the Celtics have never been the same.
Exactly. Okay. Northwestern.
Northwestern. I think they're not going to be great, but I think they could surprise some people. I mean, they're not going to be an easy win. You're not going to be able to walk in and win like you will when it comes to like Nebraska, Penn State, and Minnesota. But I mean, Bo Bowie, Chase Audridge, is that how you pronounce his name? Pete Nance.
Adige.
Like that's what is it? Peach?
Chase Adige.
No, it's Audridge.
Oh.
Chase Audridge.
This is
and Pete
America.
Yeah, Pete Nance. I mean, they've got some a decent starting five, but they have no depth. I mean, they brought in that kid from Farley Dickinson, but who knows?
Yeah, this is the team. This is a team I'm high on this year. They got so
You
much
just said they
returning.
were, you just shit on them like 30 seconds.
No, I didn't.
You did.
What did I say about Northwestern?
You said they were going to be one of the worst teams in the Big Ten.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Rewind
Chris
the tape.
said that. I didn't say that.
Rewind the tape. Rewind the tape.
I just didn't even mention Northwestern, but they're going to finish top 10 in the Big Ten this year. I truly believe it. This is the year that they make another run at the tournament. Listen, last year they were ranked at one point. It kind of fell off the rails after they beat a bad Michigan State team, but we were ranked in the top 10 at the time somehow. But listen, they got a bunch of guys back. Ty Berry, really good. Bo Bowie only plays good against Michigan State, but maybe he'll play better against someone else. Audige, all right. Audich, sorry. Pete Nance. He's going to have to live up to that name this year. He played well last year, but he's going to have to play better. Ryan Young's a guy I'm always been high on. He's always got the post moves. And so Northwestern's going to be a good team this year. I really do. I really do think so. They're going to be hovering around 500 in conference play.
Mike is correct in that they have a lot of training production, but they were just dreadful after that win over Ohio State last year. For the rest of the year, they were not even remotely competitive in the Big Ten. So I have a hard time saying they're going to be very good this year, even with that returning production.
Well, everybody else got worse, so
that's fair. Okay, Nebraska.
I don't think Nebraska is going to be good at all. I mean, they have They have the two McGowans, I guess, and they have
They have
Verge
Sam
coming
Hoiberg.
Verge coming from Arizona State.
who the hell's that?
But, what? But they have no depth, and I don't think Hoiberg is recruited at a high enough level to be good at all.
Well, he just got his first 5-star.
Well, is he on the team?
Bryce McGowan's.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
You can't. That doesn't
This,
count because his brother's on the team.
I really do like this Nebraska team. I think they'll be solid. They have no depth at all, but starting five is going to be one of the better ones in the Big Ten. Listen, say what you want about the McGowan brothers. They're both really good. And the freshman is going to be really good too. Lat Mayen, solid player last year. He's back. Only shot 39% from the field, but we're going to ignore that. They're going to be Webster. He was good last year. They lose Teddy Allen, who's a locker room cancer. So that'll help them a lot. Yeah, this Nebraska team is going to be better than Iowa. They're going to be better than Wisconsin. They're going to be a top 10 team probably in the Big Ten.
You've said that about
Really?
like three of the teams we talked about so far.
Yeah, well, you'll see what teams I don't have in the top 10. So
Well, here's what he's going to do, Luke. He's going to say Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan State won't be in the top 10.
Probably.
Nebraska, I agree.
Mike will somehow figure out a way to have every team. Mike will somehow figure out a way to have every team in the top 10 and every team not in the top 10 at the same time.
I think Nebraska will finish in the top 10. Getting Bryce McGowan was huge. Obviously, his
I don't.
brother is still a very good player. And they got Sam Hoiberg. It's a big recruit. So I think Nebraska will be good. All right, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I just don't think they're just losing everybody. Everyone but Brad Davison, shocker, who's back for his 18th year. but I don't think they have a ton of depth. I mean, they'll be okay just because of the way they play and they're Wisconsin, but I don't have a lot of confidence that they'll be any. This is going to be the first season I think in a while in the Big Ten where you're gonna have 3 or 4 teams pull away and everyone else is just gonna be fighting for a tournament bid.
They're not going to be good. There's no other way to put it. They're not a good team. I don't think the culture there is good. I don't think the scheme is good. I don't think the coaching is good. They got some young players that I like. I like the Chucky Hepburn kid. I think he's going to be solid. But again, he's a young kid. I watched part of their scrimmage against Wisconsin Whitewater, and they play. This Crow kid, 7-footer. He's going to be starting. I'm assuming he's all right.
Well, they have that
Carlson
transfer from
started, he was
Cincinnati.
all right. What?
They have that transfer from Cincinnati.
Who is that?
Vogt.
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 Yeah. They're not going to be very good, and I think this is the last year for Mr. What's his name? Guard. I know he said he. I know I said last or maybe 2 years ago he was the best coach in the Big Ten. And I still believe that, but he's going to be gone after this year.
I think they're going to be vying for a tournament spot. They still have Davison. They have some size. They bring back Johnny Davis and Tyler Wall, who showed promising signs last year. I do think this guard will have this team vying for a tournament spot just by the way they play, and assuming that Davison has a big year.
Wisconsin's only hope is if the rest of the Big Ten's terrible and they can somehow rise above it. That's the only chance they got because they're not very good.
Iowa.
I mean, they're in a similar boat as Wisconsin where they return more people. Bohannon coming back and Toussaint's should be better than what he's been. Keegan Murray played well last year. And McCaffrey's son's coming back, so we'll see with that. But then they have this transfer coming in from North Dakota, so I think they have some pieces. I just don't think they'll be just like Wisconsin, where they'll kind of be. I think they'll be around the last spot when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Who the hell knows? This team could be bad or it could be a tournament team. I don't really know. It depends on the development of these guys. Bohannon, I think he's gotten worse through the years. I think he was at his best. He's
the JT Barrett of college basketball.
He might be because I think he was at his best as a freshman, and he's kind of gone downhill every year. Last year, I know he was not really the featured guy, but I'm sure they're going to have to make him the feature guy this year. I want to see. I mean, everybody says how Keegan and Chris Murray, they were right next to each other in the recruiting rankings, and Keegan played and Chris didn't. We got to see a little bit of Chris this year. They're both the same height and they're both the same weight. I'm assuming they're the exact same player. So if you can get 2 of them, that'll be good. Though the Brocka guy from North Dakota, we'll see where he fits in. And Joe Toussaint, who I have no idea what to expect from him. I don't know what to expect from this team. They'll be probably a top 10 team in the Big Ten. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this is a tournament team. Return Bohannon, Perkins, Toussaint.
Jesus, is everybody a tournament team?
Ulyss. I think they'll probably be 10 teams make the tournament.
Jesus Christ.
You got the Murray brothers. Both McCaffreys are back. Connor back for his 30th year.
He hasn't been there that long.
I think they have enough. They have enough returning to be a tournament level team. And I did not say Wisconsin was a tournament team. I said they'd be vying for a tournament spot. Okay, Rutgers.
I think Rutgers could be very good. I think there's two tiers in the Big Ten, maybe 3 tiers. You have Ohio State, Michigan, and Purdue, and maybe Illinois, and I think Rutgers is probably in that second tier. Geo Baker, Ron Harper, they're gonna have to carry that team. They have a couple of transfers coming in, but they don't have any depth, so they'll have to have a couple of guys step up for them to have any chance at having a great season. But I think they're a tournament team.
Yeah, they got to figure out their 5 position. They've got a couple guys leaving. Well, they had the guy who transferred to UCLA. He's gone. Are we going to have Cliff Omoruyi step up, be the starting center? We'll see. They got a lot of guys returning. They had a couple big guys transfer out, but Geo Baker's back for his 30th year. You want to talk about someone who's been there forever. Harper back for his 30th year. This will be an experienced team. They'll be a good team. They'll be a bubble team. And we'll see if they can get over the top again this year. Get to their second straight tournament. Oh, sorry, last year didn't count. Get to their first tournament in what is it, 25 years? We'll see.
Yeah, this is a tournament team, definitely. A lot of returning production, but as you said, Mike, no depth. So, we'll see what happens there. But they have enough. Baker, Harper, Mulcahy. Obviously, Steve Pike will have them very sound on the defensive end. They have enough.
And they're playing in the rack
to win 11 or 12 games in the Big Ten. Maybe 10.
Well, watch
10,
out
11,
for
12.
Mawat Mag.
Okay. Indiana.
I think Indiana is the most overrated team in the Big Ten this year. And that's not because I don't think they're going to be good. It's because I think everyone, once what's-his-face got hired, everyone's put him at like they're the greatest team of all time. And I just think they'll be probably just where they were last year. I mean, there's nothing that says they're going to be any better. And Trace Jackson Davis is probably arguably the best player in the Big Ten. But I mean, they should be a comfortable tournament team, but they're not going to be competing for a Big Ten championship. That's for sure.
This is going to be the best Indiana team that they've had since the Yogi Ferrell teams. This is going to be a really good team. And it starts with getting Trace Jackson Davis back. He's going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten. They got the transfer from Marquette. He's going to be really good. Is that Marquette? Is that
transfer from Marquette?
Pittsburgh? It's Pittsburgh, right?
They have Johnson from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, I looked at the jersey; it looked like Marquette colors, but yeah, now I think about it, he's from Pitt. He's going to be solid. Miller Kopp brings some shooting.
Yeah.
They couldn't shoot the ball last year. That was their main problem. I think they'll be able to shoot it a little bit better. Obviously, I hope so. It couldn't get much worse for them. We'll see if Finney can finally take a step this year. I know he's really struggled the past couple of years. Indiana's probably going to be a top 5 team in the Big Ten. They're going to be really good.
Yeah,
Well, they have Jordan Geronimo coming off the bench with a name like Geronimo. Watch out.
It's a talented team. I think Mike Woodson's a pretty good coach, but the team, let's be honest, they're filled with a bunch of losers.
That was a joke of a hiring. That was a Michigan level hiring where they hired him just because.
Yeah, that was a Mel Tucker hire. Everybody hated it, but we'll watch out in a couple of years.
I think Indiana's a talented team, but these players are losers. They have been losers their entire college career, and they'll be a bubble team.
Who?
Indiana.
Who? Miller Kopp's a loser?
Jackson Davis is a loser. Finney's a loser.
Jackson Davis is a loser.
Galloway's a loser.
Yep. Galloway's a loser.
Hey, listen, we'll see if Christian Lander can hit a 3-pointer.
Lander's a loser.
Geronimo.
He was.
So yeah.
How about a 5-star? How about your own? Well, he was their second 5-star. But Christian Lander, 5-star recruit.
He was terrible.
2 points. 2 points and 25% from the field.
Awful. Yeah. Okay. Maryland. We have 3 teams left. Maryland.
I have no idea about Maryland, to be honest with you. Everyone seems to have them all over the place. Everyone thinks they're going to be a solid team this year. They have a lot of returning talent. They have Russell coming in from Rhode Island. We'll see how he does. And they have that kid from Georgetown, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But like most teams in the Big Ten this year, depth is going to be a question.
Well, I'll try to pronounce it. Quatus Wahab. He's gonna be all right. Yeah, I'm not too high on Maryland. I'm never high on Maryland because I think their coach sucks. Here's the thing. I think he does well with guard centric teams that play small ball, which is kind of like what they were last year.
You got
They
two guys
are
that
gonna-
average over
they're gonna
average
play-
double digits.
They're going to play a lot bigger this year, I'd assume, with a guy like Wuhab at the center. Listen, they got some good players. Ayala, solid player. He's been there for a long time. Fats Russell, probably the most overrated transfer in the cycle. We'll see how he plays. I don't think he's very good. I didn't think he was good at Rhode Island, so we'll see. And besides that, it's a lot of it's a lot of inexperienced players. Dante Scott, he's not inexperienced, but everybody else, you just look at them, you don't see a whole lot. You see a lot of young guys, a lot of freshmen. So we'll see how they perform.
Yeah, Maryland's going to be really, really good. You get two guards like Russell and Ayala. I think they're going to be competing for the Big Ten, to be honest with you. They're a top 10 level team.
Yeah.
Russell and Ayala, two of the best players in the entire conference.
Yeah, Russell shot 33% from the field last year.
Well, last year didn't count.
All right, let's go back to the year before that. He shot 38%. Wow, what an improvement!
He had a high volume. He was a volume scorer.
That's a freaking stat line from who's the guy that used to be at Nebraska? Oh, I forgot his name. He would like put up like 15, 16 points a game and like 35% from the field.
Anyways, Dante Scott, Qudus Wahab, Akeem Hart, good players. This is going to be a really good team. Okay, two teams left. Illinois.
Illinois will be interesting. They have Frazier and Kofi Coburn. That's going to kind of be carrying the team. They have Coburn. Cockburn, and then they have that Plummer kid from Utah that should be all right, and I think they're just going to be outside the top three teams this year. I think it's probably going to be Purdue, Ohio State, Michigan, and then Illinois.
Illinois is the best team in the Big Ten again, and they're the most talented team in the Big Ten. I think. Listen, Curbelo is going to be one of the most improved players in the Big Ten. I really believe it. He was really good last year as a freshman, and I think he's going to make even bigger strides this year. Trent Frazier will do his thing. He's a really good player. And I think, obviously losing Io is going to be tough, but I think that, they got the transfer from Florida. He's going to be solid. And they got Cockburn back, who, listen, he's got to learn how to be a basketball player. There's no doubt about it, but the talent is undeniable. And listen, I think Purdue's overrated. I'd put Illinois first in the Big Ten right now. I really would. And then I'd probably put Michigan second. And then maybe Purdue third. We'll see how things go. But I really am high on Illinois this year. I think they'll actually maybe make a Sweet 16. We'll see.
Yeah, Illinois is good. I think they're a top 25 team. I think they're very overrated. In order for them to be a team that's competing for a Big Ten, like you said, Mike, Curbelo definitely needs to take a huge step. He was good last year.
He will.
He needs to be better. The loss of Ayo Dosunmu, people are really underestimating this. His effect on that team was unbelievable. Whether it was
he went out and they just curb stomped Michigan without him. So exactly.
We were asleep for that game. We were totally asleep for that game.
Yeah, and that's what won Illinois the Big Ten.
Yeah, well, we won the Big Ten, so it didn't matter.
If you look at games back, Illinois won.
Well, if you look at the banner, we have one and they don't. So
you don't have a banner.
We do have a banner, actually.
No one will see it because no one goes to the game. So when they lift the banner up, no one will see it. So no one will know if Michigan will have a banner.
Anyways, his effect offensively, defensively, and really distributing the ball is something I don't think Illinois has. I mean, DeMonte Williams got a lot of open shots because of Dosunmu.
Curbelo is one of the best passers in the Big Ten.
Cockburn got a lot of open dunks because of Dosunmu. I mean, Curbelo, he's fine. He's a fine player.
He averaged 4 assists in 20 minutes a game.
I don't care. He needs to be the best passer in the Big Ten for Illinois to be competing for the Big Ten championship.
God, you act like Illinois has no talent.
I mean, they're fine.
They're the most talented team in the conference.
I'm not big on Kofi at all. I think he's extremely guardable. You send a double, he doesn't pass. And when you have Richard Pitino type coaches who don't even know what a double is, then he can't make a free throw. So I mean, the guy is extremely overrated.
Well, and Dickinson can.
No, I'm not saying Dickinson's any better than him or any worse than him. Dickinson's overrated too.
Yeah, they're both no Marcus Bingham, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, last team until we move on. Purdue.
I think Purdue are the favorites to win the Big Ten this year. I mean, everyone's thinking Jaden Ivey is going to take a huge step up. I've seen comparisons to Victor Oladipo with the step up that people think Jaden Ivey is going to make. I think that's questionable, but definitely possible. But I just think they have Eric Hunter's a really good guard. They have Stefanovic, who averaged about 10 points a game last year. And then you'll obviously have Trevion Williams, who I think is probably best player in the Big Ten. Probably, possibly.
He's not even the best center on his team. So
here's where I'm going is that I think one of the big question when it comes to Purdue is you just can't play. They just last year showed that you can't play Edey and Williams at the same time. So that's going to be a problem. But they should, because the thing is, you're going to want Williams out there for 20 to 30 minutes a game. So that leaves Edey with 10 minutes a game. Is that enough for him to impact the game? The kid's 7'4". But Matt Painter's a good enough coach. He'll figure it out. He's the top coach in America. And then they just need one of these freshmen to step up. I think Kaufman Wren will be all right. They have that first kid off the bench, but I think he's more of a development guy. So I think Kaufman Wren will be the guy to step up, but we'll see.
Listen, I think there are a couple of tough decisions going to have to be made with Purdue. I think they're a very good team. I think their ceiling is pretty high, but I don't think it's higher than Illinois or Michigan or even Michigan State and Ohio State probably have higher ceilings than Purdue. Here's the thing about Purdue.
Yeah, but Purdue has a high floor. They have the highest floor.
Yeah, they might have the highest floor. But the style they play is not going to be conducive for tournament success or even a ton of Big Ten success. I mean, I like their team. I do. I mean, they're going to be solid. I think Ivey's very overrated. I think he was a good player last year, but to expect him to be some amazing player this year, I mean, it might be a little bit too much. I think Edey's going to have to play more because at the end of last year, Edey was probably their best player. And it's tough. Like Luke said, it's tough to put both of the big guys on the floor at the same time. It's going to be a challenge for Matt Painter. And they lose Micah Shrewsbury. I think people are underestimating that because when he left the Celtics, they're never the same, and we'll see if when he leaves Purdue if they'll be the same. So they got a bunch of guys that'll play. It's going to be a Tom Izzo type thing. It's going to be a Tom Izzo type problem. You're going to have 10, 11 guys who are going to be good enough to play, but you got to find a way to get them in the rotation. So we'll see. We'll see how they navigate this season. They'll probably finish 3rd or 4th in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten. It's not even close. Jaden Ivey coming back, obviously, huge. And Trevion Williams, as Luke said, one of the best players in the conference. For sure, Stefanovic.
Zach Edey.
Unbelievable player. Shooter, Stefanovic is. Edey's, he's fine.
He was their best player. He was a unbelievable player at the end of last year.
Eric Hunter, very good player. They just have a ton of great players.
Let's see if Eric Hunter can make a 3-pointer this year.
It's a very talented team. And Matt Painter maybe the best coach in the Big Ten. So I expect Purdue to win the conference.
I mean, he knows how to win Big Ten games, but when it gets to March, he struggles.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying
just like Tom Izzo. He really struggles when it gets to go time, money time.
Okay. Just tell me who's going to win each of these conferences. We'll do the 6 power conferences, then we'll move
Atlantic
on.
Sun.
All right, so we'll start with the Pac-12.
The Pac-12. I think Oregon's going to win the Pac-12. Are we talking regular season? Are we talking
Regular
conference,
season championship.
tournament? Except for the ACC.
No, I'll be doing tournament because that's all that matters. So
Yes, I'll be projecting out my bracket. I have Oregon 1, UCLA 2 in the Pac-12.
Okay, Mike.
UCLA and a lot of people saying they're overrated. That's not true.
They are overrated. If
They-
Michigan
they
State
were
could have
very-
taken
they
care
were
of business,
very
they
injured.
wouldn't even be ranked in the top 25.
They're very injured last year, and they brought some big guys back. They got Miles Johnson from Rutgers. He's going to be solid
He's
Yep.
horrible.
up in the middle. He's a good defender. They got Jules Bernard. They got Hami Haike, whatever the hell his name is. Good player. So yeah, and Mick Cronin's the best coach over there out there in the Pac-12. So I put UCLA 1. I think Oregon's overrated as usual. They're overrated every year. And Oregon State, I put number 2.
Well, Mike, if Michigan State could have taken care of business in that round of 11 seed game, UCLA wouldn't even be a top 25 team in the country. So
Yeah, well, yeah, we would have made the Final Four probably. Because based off of the transitive property, we would have made the Final Four.
Yeah, Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12. You got Davion Harmon, Quincy Guerrier coming in. Pair them with Will Richardson.
Okay, that automatically makes them the worst team. The fact they got Quincy
And
Gary.
they got Jacob Young from Rutgers. So I think this is going to be a really good team.
So 3 average role players. Now all of a sudden they're the best team.
And you got Will Richardson, who can be
Don't even know who that is.
He can
So
be a top scorer on a very good team. So I expect this team to be really good.
he's no Anthony Mathis, that's for sure.
All right. SEC.
the SEC. I think the SEC is going to be probably the strongest conference out of the Power 5 conferences or Power 6 conferences. I actually have Alabama winning the conference. I think Kentucky and Arkansas 2-3.
This is going to be a surprise season for Florida. I have Florida winning the conference. I really like the additions they've made through the transfer portal. And they're going to be a very solid team, really under the radar. It's going to be an important season for Mike White. I know he's kind of on the hot seat, but Myron Jones, knockdown shooter, hell of a team. Florida will win the SEC this year. Kentucky will finish second.
Yeah, interesting conference. I'm
Yeah,
going to go with
CJ Felder.
I'm going to go with
good guy to bring
Arkansas. I think Chris Likes can be a good replacement for Moses Moody, the role he played last year. And I know Arkansas was a great team last year, so I think Arkansas wins it.
Great team. That's an overstatement.
Okay, the Big 12.
The Big 12, another conference. The Big 12 is not going to be as strong as they have previously, but they have a couple of the top teams in the country. I have Kansas 1 and Texas 2.
Texas 1, Baylor 2, Kansas State 3.
Yeah, Texas is going to win this. Texas is the best team in the country. I don't really think it's really close.
Well,
I
the
think
one
Kansas
thing that
Texas.
I worry about is Marcus Carr's ability to fuck things up. That's what I'm worried about.
I expect them to win this conference easily.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, when Marcus Carr is putting up 20 a game on 30 shots, that's a problem.
No, Chris Beard will get him in place. They don't even need him. If he got benched, they would still be fine.
Yeah, well, then he'd pull a Teddy Allen and start throwing shit in the locker room.
And then he get kicked off the team.
And that would be a bad look for the program.
No, they'll be fine.
And then he transferred to New Mexico. So, well,
Who's going to win the Big East?
I don't comment on
I
mid-major
think
conferences. So.
Here's the thing: the Big East. If it wasn't for UConn, the Big East is probably one of the worst conference. It might be the worst. I'm not even saying this just to piss Chris off. I think they might be the worst Power 6 conference this year at the Big East.
Awful.
But I have Villanova 1 until someone dethrones them. They're 1. And then I think UConn might be challenging them a little bit. A surprise team this year is going to be St. John's. I'll tell you
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I hate everything about the Big East. I don't know what I hate more, Penn State or the Big East. I'm not sure which. I can't stand it. They have no fans. None of these teams have fans, and every game, every home game, no crowds, just an empty stadium. But it's the Fox college basketball product sucks. All right, it's just a bunch of blah blah blue teams going against blue teams over and over and over. No, it's just terrible. Too much parity, way too much parity. I can't stand the Big East. It's a horrible product. All right, I don't even want to pick a team here. I really
You know who
don't,
might
because I
be the
can't
worst?
stand
All right.
the Big East.
I'm putting Mike down for DePaul.
Outside of
Fuck it, I
outside
don't
of the-
care. Do you think I give a shit? I don't pick dumb conferences. I don't do it.
Outside DePaul, Georgetown might be one of the worst teams in the Power Six.
Georgetown's not good.
You know what you gotta love? You gotta love those Wednesday night Biggie or whatever night they have Big East basketball on, and it's just a dark blue team against another dark blue team over and over and over again, and it gets old. It really does. Cannot stand the Big East. It's horrible. And I'm not even trying to piss Chris off. I just fucking hate the Big East. That's all. I just hate it. Can't stand it.
Shocking here. I'm actually a little down on the Big East this year.
Oh,
Villanova.
you've been up on it the past 30 years. So
Villanova's my pick to win it. I think UConn could challenge them. I agree with Luke. St. John's is going to be
by
a
the
good
way,
team.
my pick is Marquette. I think Shock is going to shock the world.
Okay. So those three teams, Xavier and Butler, will probably make the tournament. Everybody else, I mean, Seton Hall, Providence, maybe on the bubble, but I'm not.
UConn.
I have UConn. I said they're going to challenge Villanova.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Marquette, Georgetown, DePaul, Creighton, they're going to really struggle this year. I don't think it's a particularly deep conference.
And you know another problem with the Big East is they just have a bunch of no-name players on their teams. It's a bunch of no-names, bunch of people you don't know. And maybe it's just because it's all Fox and Fox has exclusive rights, so ESPN doesn't show Big East stuff a whole lot. Maybe that's the reason why. But all these teams have a bunch of players just no one knows about. It's just terrible.
All right, ACC.
And actually, a couple of years ago, when all these teams had a bunch of good players, the Big East was good. But last year it sucked, and this year it's going to suck too. I mean, it's going to be terrible.
ACC.
Yeah, I have Florida State winning the ACC regular season, and then after them I have Louisville and Virginia, and then I have Duke and UNC, who are both going to struggle this year because their coaches are going to be way too big profiles. It's all going to be the Coach K show. It's the Coach K, and they're just not going to be that good. They'll make a run in the tournament like the ACC tournament like they usually do, but in the regular season it'll be Florida State, Louisville, and Virginia.
God, you know what? I don't like the ACC either. It's a bunch of brands and then a bunch of terrible teams. That's like the second worst thing you could have. And they have a bunch of good teams and a bunch of terrible teams. I don't know what to expect from a lot of these teams. Duke's ranked in the top 10 just based off of their recruiting class, which is usual for them. So I'll believe it when I see it from Duke. Same with North Carolina. I know they're ranked top 20, but I actually think they're going to be better than Duke because of that transfer. Who's the transfer they got? Oh yeah, freaking Brady Manick. That's right. Forgot about that. He's going to be a hell of a player for him. But you can't trust the first year head coach, so I don't know what to expect from them. Florida State, they'll be in it. But I got to roll the dice on my guy Kevin Keats. I'm going to take NC State here.
Nice. I'm going to go with Syracuse. I think the addition of Jimmy
I
Bay,
thought NC State was a dumb pick.
the two Boeheim brothers will be big for them. Joe Girard back. I mean, I think it's just a talented team, well-coached team. I expect Syracuse to win it. The Big Ten.
I have Purdue winning the Big Ten. Oh no, I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten.
I have Illinois winning the Big Ten.
Okay, I have Purdue. All right, give me your preseason Final Four.
I have Houston winning the American too. Put that down.
Oh, okay.
My preseason Final Four. I'll go with Gonzaga, Kansas, Villanova, and Alabama.
Yeah, this is what I don't like about preseason Final Four projections. I don't like because there's just no chance of any of this stuff coming true. Unlike the college football playoff, which I mean, because you want as little parity as possible. That's what you want.
Yeah.
If you made me pick 4 teams that have the best chance of making the Final Four, UCLA, they're tournament ready. I'll go them. I'll go. I refuse to pick a Big East team. I'll go Texas. If they can get Marcus Carr under control, Baylor's going to make a surprise visit back to the Final Four. And finally, go a little off the radar here, but I'll go Oklahoma State. Just because I have to pick a random team to make it. So I'll pick Oklahoma State.
Okay. I'll go Michigan, Texas, Villanova, and my random team, I guess will not be so random by the end of the year, Syracuse.
They're going to say BC or something.
No, BC is the worst team in all of power conferences. Okay.
I can't wait until they beat whoever Big Ten team they play in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Or they might not be in it this year because they were so bad. I don't know.
Okay, we have some very intriguing picks.
We're going to talk about Dan Dockage being fired from ESPN.
No,
Why not?
because we have 5 minutes. Okay. We'll start with UMBC at UMass.
I guess I'll take UMass. Who I think is going to be surprisingly good this year.
UMass.
Yeah, I'm also going to take UMass. Maine at Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Well, I would take Maine if I didn't pick Ferris State the other day. So I'm taking the other team that they're playing, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think Maine covers, but I'll take Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah. What's the line?
I don't know. Akron at Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Got to go with the Fighting Zips.
Okay. Let's see. Next game. Number 3, Kansas at
Are you going to
Michigan
pick
State.
it?
You just didn't pick.
No, sorry. Ohio State. Kansas and Michigan State.
Kansas.
Kansas is going to freaking they're going to splatter guts everywhere. It's going to be like 85.
Mike, did you see Jalen Wilson's out for the game?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't care. That actually makes it worse.
Okay. Fairfield at Providence. Rivalry
You
game.
going to pick it?
Oh, sorry. Kansas. Fairfield at Providence.
Providence, I guess.
What a dumb game. Providence.
Providence. 2 more games here. Dartmouth at Boston College.
Boston College.
BC, just for their sake.
Yeah. I'm going to take BC. It's got to be very close, though.
I think, Chris, I will say I do think Fairfield's going to be a good team this year.
Really?
They're not going to be able to compete with Iona.
I think they're a
obviously,
fringe Final Four contender. I really do.
but- Okay. Okay. Well, let's relax. They're not going to be able to compete with Iona, but they could be second or third in that conference.
Watch out for Manhattan.
I'm just kidding. I think they're going to be dead last, aren't they? Isn't that where everyone picks them?
I'm just saying shit.
Okay. Kentucky and Duke.
Oh God, I don't care. I'll just take an L.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking Kentucky.
I'm going to take Kentucky too.
I'll take Duke then. I'll take Duke.
Okay. I know I didn't pick Kentucky to win the SEC because I think it'll take a little bit for them to get it together, but that get of CJ Frederick is going to be huge for them.
Where'd he go?
Kentucky.
CJ Frederick. I totally forgot about him.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. You know what? I'm putting Iowa dead last. I totally forgot they lost him.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we sign off for today?
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's unfortunate that ESPN got rid of Dan Dockage and the Big Ten conference games will never be the same.
Okay. We'll be back with football later this week and basketball next Wednesday. thank you for joining us. And
Go
also
green.
Thank you to Heath and Coach Hill for joining us today. Hope to have them back on soon. All right, we'll
We
see you
will
next
have
week.
Mel Tucker on tomorrow's podcast.
We will not. See you next week.
I'll get my sources ready.